Good evening. I'm just going to share this with some friends. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Josefsky here, coming at you live on this fine Wednesday evening. What a week. What a last couple of months has been. Very, very intensive. Been working tons, been doing tons of cold approach, been dating, been taking guys on missions. It has literally been all go, mate. It has been non-stop, absolutely relentless pursuit of excellence in all domains. And this live is entitled Realities of Modern Dating, Dating in Modernity, Realities of High Level Approach. So, where's my drink? Let's get my drink and let's get rolling into this. Where is it? There it is. So, I wanted to come in this evening to discuss the realities of daytime approach. The realities of daytime approach as part of a lifestyle. As part of a lifestyle. To get good at this, it needs to be part of a lifestyle. You're not just going to probably get that good. Well, you can get actually very good in a weekend, in 3 days. But to fully realize the results, it's going to take some time, right? To collect up, let's say, 20 really viable numbers, you're not going to do that in a weekend, most likely. I mean, it's possible. Some places you probably could, but in most places, you might get 10 numbers in 2-3 days, something like that. That'd be normal. And then over a month, let's say you get 30 odd numbers, and you got your leads, and then you start to build up your dates, and you start to actually date, you start to have a personal life, you start to get your sex life going, and you start to see what your options are. This is daytime approach. This is the approach lifestyle. And actually, well, it's an intensive pursuit. It's an energy output. It's an energy output. And so that's what I want to talk about today, is the reality of your energetic expenditure through cold approach. So if you go out and do 2-3 approaches, that's actually a freshener. That's just like, that'll pep you up for the day. But if you want to do a full session, those sessions where you get rolling, and you're really hitting one approach after the next, and you're building up, and you're just doing more and more interesting approaches, maybe you get an instant date, or maybe you just keep going and getting more and more numbers, or you just keep going, and then what often happens, you get this magical final approach. Like your last approach is just this amazing chemistry, sexual connection, because you just actually don't give a shit at all. If you're doing sessions like that, that's an energy expenditure. So, Kratos on the Android quality. Is that supposed to be clever, Duke? So you get, you basically get rolling. You get rolling, and you can probably, I think you can do that Saturday and Sunday. And if you're with wings, yeah, you can go out and it's fun. If you're solo, it's even more of an energy expenditure. But eventually what happens is, let's say you do that for like 8 weeks in a row. Eventually you burn out. I think most people burn at about 8 weeks, the 8-week mark. Even if you are going out with wings. I call it an approach hangover. We've talked about this, me and some friends. You literally get like a hangover the next day. You might have walked 10, 12 kilometers. You've done so much interaction in the day. You're walking through busy streets, which if you've got a more sensitive nervous system, some people have, as it happens, I actually have, it's a lot of stimulus. That doesn't mean you're pussy. It doesn't mean you've got an excuse, right? It just means it's a lot of stimulus on your system. Yeah. So there's the high intensity experience. And over time, that does take its toll. And so that's what I want to talk about today. Essentially, approach fatigue. How I've been dealing with it, how I've dealt with it over the years, because it's not just in daytime approach I've had it in the nighttime as well. So that's what we're going to talk about to begin with. And the first thing I'll say is cold approach, whether it's daytime or nighttime, if you're a little bit more on the introverted side, it is going to be an energetic output for you. and you just got to accept that that's part of the game. That's part of the game, right? Um, and it's actually not something that's particularly restful. So let's say you work 5, 6 days a week, and you're already like outputting a lot in your work. Like I've got a high social output in my work, a very high social output, to be honest. I've got to be on 5, 6 hours a day where I kind of am expected to perform with people. And that on its own is an output. Then on top of that, at the weekend I'm going out and doing cold approach. It's all output. It's all output, output, output. And at a certain point, the battery just runs down. The battery runs down. So the way I structure my year is I basically go in like a big wave. It builds up and builds up from September, and then from about March through to the end of June, February through to the end of June, there's a massive peak on this wave of my professional life, and then that wave just crashes down in the summer, and I've got usually more time to relax and to actually just get a bit more time to myself, just to bring my nervous system back down into alignment. So professionally, I handle it like that. And actually what that means is, with my approach, I can actually do more in the summer. I can do a bit more. I can date a little bit more if I want to, because I'm more relaxed. So I think it's you got to bear in mind, if you're a busy professional, you're a busy entrepreneur, cold approach is not your only priority. Like, you have other massive priorities and responsibilities that are going to drain the tank. Yeah. Cold approach will drain it even more. And so you got to think of ways to replenish that. And I think there's a few different things you can do. One of them is make sure you're with wings as much as possible. That actually boosts you. It makes it more fun. There's that camaraderie there. You're not shouldering the entire burden yourself. Sometimes, like, I would say, like the session I did on Saturday, I was with a wing in Manchester. I'd been on a date the night before, had a massive week of work. If I'd been on my own, I'd have probably just gone to a few bookshops and then just buggered off home. Cause I couldn't be bothered. But I met up with a wing and we started to roll together. And by the end, I was enjoying the session. So that's something you can do. Use your wings and bounce off each other. The other thing I will say as well, though, is once you get to a point, after you've done, let's say, 6 weeks, you've been out every single week for 6 weeks, I think at that point you can actually say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. I'll take a couple of weekends off, 2, 3 weekends off, and just chill. Do what the fuck I want to do. Go to study in the library. Go for a long walk. Do some stuff that's a bit more replenishing. That's actually a great option. That's a great option for restoring yourself. When I was in the nighttime scene, that's what I would do. I'd go for sometimes a couple of months where I wouldn't really go out much. I'd just go out maybe once a month, and I'd spend my weekends going for walks. Maybe I'd have a girlfriend for a bit and I'd go for walks with her. I remember a lot of Saturday nights I'd be doing art. I'd be drawing a lot of Saturday nights, especially midwinter, when I had my own promotion, and I was like, do I really need to go out on a Saturday night now? I've got my own promotion. And so I started to draw, and it's just a therapeutic thing. And that's actually when I was doing my promotion is actually when I started writing my book as well, which I just finished. So that was something I would do at weekends. It's more calm, it's more of an introverted activity. And I would say myself, I'm definitely an introvert. I'm a sociable introvert. I'm a socially confident introvert. That's what I would say about myself. Meaning that I get a lot from that recovery. Or maybe an ambivert. They're talking about this new thing, ambiverts, where you're a little bit of both, but I get a lot from recovering alone, and I can definitely spend 4 or 5 days alone easily, no problems at all. As long as I can have a little chat with a guy in the coffee shop, that's me. I'm good. Maybe have a little phone call. I'm good. I don't need to be around large groups of people on a regular basis. And in fact, you know what it is? It's not just the groups, right? It's how real versus. I feel like I've heard someone who is autistic say they really enjoyed being around Russian people because they were no bullshit. And I feel like with British culture, it's just a lot of just bullshit. So I'm kind of like having to navigate not offending people and not being bullshitting and bullshitting, being nice basically to people I don't really like or I'm not really interested in. That might be family gatherings and big social things. I'm kind of being fake to be honest, and that's actually very fatiguing. So is it just the amount of people you're around and the stimulus? That's probably part of it, but is it also this idea you've somehow got to perform? Because the real me is basically quite unacceptable and uncompromising, and most people probably wouldn't like me if I'm being really honest. I know the real me is fairly offensive, not very pleasant necessarily to be around. Yeah, but also smart and valuable as well. you know. So I actually I get on with the guys in the Balkans pretty well. Get on with Ruskies pretty well. Like Latinos are the same. Is quite no bullshit. The whole English middle class society thing. I can do it. I can play the fake ass game, but whatever. So yeah, my point here is just like even in my nighttime days, I would take time out where I'd go quiet, I'd go dark for a few months, for maybe a few weeks, maybe up to a month or two. And I think doing the same in cold approach, I found myself consistently every 8 to 12 weeks, I'll run out of ammo and I'll go, fucking hell, I need to have a few weeks off. Um, and that's being a hard taskmaster on myself as well. That's not giving myself an easy out. That's just like, mate, you are knackered. Like, and so that's a big part of it. And I think if you are that way inclined, you'll know it yourself. You should have a lot of other commitments if you're leading a full life. You shouldn't just be going out and doing approach and going to work. Okay, that's the life of a fucking borderline serial killer. You need to have other pursuits as well. You need to have that balance. So bringing other pursuits into your life as well is really important. Yeah, otherwise you don't have even anything to talk about. You're going to pedestalize the woman. By the way, when you're pedestalizing the woman, you're not actually seeing the woman. What you're seeing is an object of desire in your imagination. You literally you're not even interacting with a real woman. Guys who pedestalize, you're not even interacting with a real person. You're masturbating over a figure in your mind that has almost no relation to the real person. So yeah, having they call it the muse in arts. Like it's better to let some of that energy go somewhere that isn't womanhood. Send that energy somewhere else. Send it into something artistic. Send it into something physical. Don't have all the energy just on women. Yeah, and so other things as well to consider. I've already talked about this, but modern dating, if you're going out doing approach, location is all important. Location is all important. You can't outgame a shit location. I'm based in Sheffield at the moment because I'm hanging out with family, which has been absolutely awesome. I have done daytime approach successfully in Sheffield. Probably some of the fittest girls I've ever got with were in Sheffield before I'd really learned to do approach properly. Actually, quite crazily when I think. I was just starting to learn it. But I would do one approach a day. I'd do one approach a day. That was my session, one approach. And yeah, probably one of the hottest girls I've got actually closed in daytime approach was here. But in general, that is more of an exception than a rule. So you got to get yourself to a good place. So I go over to Manchester for my sessions, and the quality is just so high. The quality is so high over there. So most of my thumbnails recently have been from Manchester. Quality is incredibly high. Get yourself to a decent city. And it's not just seduction. Cold approach is not seduction, right? Cold approach is a way to get a girl's number. And that's basically it. And you can have an instant date with a girl. You can have an instant experience with a girl. You can get sexual a little bit with a girl. You can have some good banter, some good vibes. Ultimately, it's a way to get a lead. That's all it is. Richie, how you doing, mate? Amsterdam. So you got to bear in mind, like, there's other aspects to a city as well. It's not just how much traffic there is. There's also the logistics of the city for the follow-up. So, like, for example, Barca, we're in Barcelona. Amazing for approach, amazing for short-term flings. Actually good for getting girlfriends as well, but for girlfriends, you'd want to get off Las Ramblas because you need to actually be meeting girls who are actually from the city. Um, yeah, this is one of my things that I like about Manchester as well. The actual follow up and the dating is fairly easy, and I'm learning about that city more and more. Um, like this girl I was with on Friday night, she was from Stockport. Before I've met girls from Stockport, and I thought, oh God, how am I going to coordinate with them? And actually, they used to just get in a 10-minute train into town, and then you can just get them a taxi back, later on. So, um, yeah, it's no issue really. So that, yeah, the logistics of the place, the foot traffic, it's all important, right? Um, it's amazing to me when I look back now. It's literally astonishing to me what I managed to achieve in Sheffield. It's actually astonishing. But I think the city's got worse over time as apps have all come online, the new generation's coming through. It just doesn't feel the same. The energy, there was actually electricity in the air when you used to go out on nights out. Um, People would actually come to Sheffield from other cities, even sometimes from Scotland, because we had one of the biggest clubs in the UK called Gatecrasher. So it was actually a big nightlife city back in the day, and that has slowly died over the years to the point now it's quite poor, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, even the Manchester nightlife is not what it was. It's still pretty good, but yeah, it's not as big as it was. So I think daytime is more and more appealing, and then you take the girls to the club afterwards. You take the girls to the club when you actually drink. You know, you want to go for a date with them. Um, Yeah, the other thing I've got here is actual player life, like guys who are actually living the player lifestyle, the actual player lifestyle. You can do it through daytime approach. There's guys that I know who are doing it through that. Like, I would describe a player lifestyle as where you're meeting up with and having sex with two or more women per week. That to me would be a legitimate player lifestyle, or maybe one different one every week, but it's usually two or more. That's the lifestyle, man. And the guys who are getting with four, five, six, seven girls a week, which the guys who do that, it's just slightly, the guys who do it typically make it look easy, actually. So, um, it's a slightly crazy way to live. But normally for that to be, normally to do that, you got to actually be on a scene. You've actually got to be on a scene where there's just like a constant influx of the women all the time. And you actually don't have to do that much. You almost become like a go-to guy. This is what girls do. There's a guy who becomes the go-to guy in the club. I used to live with a guy like that. Um, I don't think I have lived something of a player lifestyle, but I never put myself too high up because the guy I live with, he would be getting with five, six, seven girls a week, easily. I've been with him where he's got with two girls in a night, in an after party. He fucked one of them, then came in, had a cigarette, and then took another one. Things like that. That's kind of like what I would consider the lifestyle, like the peak of that lifestyle. Some of the bartenders I knew, they were the same. They were the same. They just fucking girls every single day. Um, they rack up a lot of experience. It maybe shows a different side to womanhood that most guys would be uncomfortable with, but it is what it is. Um, and to the extent I've lived some of that lifestyle, it's usually like maybe two, three different girls going on at the same time, and I'll prefer to have these romantic flings with girls for like 6 weeks, and then maybe there'll be a different one, and but or you have like a main girl, and then you just go out, and then there's new girls coming in and out. Um, but I was never the main playboy, really. I was just involved in the scene a little bit. I did my piece, but I was never really the main playboy. But even what I did, the results in terms of quantity were always higher when I was in a scene. I was actually in a scene. Oh, I'm the guy on the scene. I became a known guy on the scene for a while. And there's something to that. There's something to that. When you're that guy, some girls will sleep with you when they're on a rebound from an ex, and they'll see you. They'll see you basically in the way that we would see a slot. They'll just see you like that as a guy to just just to use for sex. It's a fucking crazy thing when it happened. I think it first happened to me at about 31, around that age. I said to my guy I was living with, I was like, dude, I think this girl basically just. I asked the flatmate, I was like, why did she disappear? And the flatmate was like, oh, she just used you for sex. I said to my mate, I was like, I didn't even know they did that. I thought we did that. And he was like, yes, it's crazy when you find that out because that probably happened to him 5 years before. But again, that was because I was on the scene. I was on the scene for a given period of time. Um, yeah, and that pretty much ended just before the pandemic for me. That ended with actually a physical injury. I got a very bad physical injury and I couldn't go out for like 9 months, and then it was the pandemic. So that was me done, and I've never gone back to it in that sense. Um, what I think is, I don't think that lifestyle is amenable past. I was growing out of the age range as well. I don't think that life is amenable past a certain age because as you get older, you just get more responsibilities. Like you get more ambitious. You want more money. You want to do more. You don't want to just. I didn't want to just live in Sheffield, being a whatever here. Even though I'd lived around the world, I didn't. I was back in Sheffield for a reason, which was to start a business. I didn't want to get stuck here, so I wanted to push on and go out into and live internationally again. But this time on my own terms, not working for other people, but working for myself. So you just get more responsibilities as you get older. It's not actually viable really to live like that unless you get so successful then you sell out and you got loads of cash, then yeah, it's viable. But for a lot of guys, it's not viable after a certain point, 32, 33, whatever, um 35 maybe. And at that point you're okay, we need to change things up, and so what I've been living, I would probably loosely describe it as the slow playboy lifestyle. The slow playboy lifestyle, which is like, I'm not going out fast, different girl every night. I don't have the energy. I've got way too many things to do. But I might be seeing a girl for a while, long term, and I might have like a new girl who comes in like every 3 months or something, and I might be single. I might, meet one girl here in this country for a couple of weeks, take a few weeks off, and then maybe the next girl in the next country. It's a slower pace. It's a much slower pace. I'm not in a rush to get the girls into the bedroom. I'm not in a rush to try to do one after the next. I'm good. It's a slow pace. It's a controlled pace. I'm enjoying pleasure on my own terms, and I'm not letting it really devalue or deviate the rest of my life. So that's probably what I would describe it as. And I think that's a good lifestyle for men once you, certainly into your late 30s, 40s, 50s. You don't want to be in the clubs every night, do you? You don't want to be in the streets every day. Would you even want to have a date every day? Once you've done it and you actually realise, man, most of these girls are fucking boring. Like literally, I'd rather read Nietzsche. This chick is boring, man. And then even in terms of sex, I don't know. The sex is great, but it's like always there's so often issues that come afterwards. You think, is it even fucking worth it? So living more this slow playboy lifestyle, I think it's more amenable. Um, and yeah, and the other thing you can do is you can have a legitimate girlfriend, and then you can just do cold approach on the side to kind of sate that inner demon in you that just wants to go out and womanize. That's another good angle as well. I've done that as well. That's what I did last year. That was pretty good, to be honest with you. It's probably the best relationship I'd had. So yeah, and single life is good these days. Single life is good. I see guys in family life, and I think in the West, man, it's fucking difficult to live a middle class life. Um, I don't know how these guys are pretty trapped, to be honest with you. Like, how are you supposed to live a middle class life now? I think you need like 300k a year to be living a middle class life with a family, minimum. 100k a year, like you barely. You can't. If you're earning 100k a year, your wife can't stay at home in the UK. No way. Your girl's got to go out and work as well. Um, probably full time. Probably full time. What is the point? It's like how much sacrifice is it? how much of a drop in standard of living do you want to experience to have the family? For me, you either need to have a fucking shit ton of money so you can afford nannies and stuff. Well, I mean, really, for me, I would have to just leave the UK, which I would, that's what I'm planning on doing anyway. But yeah, and I would just employ whatever nanny, 500 quid a month in some developing country, which I'll live in. That would be my actual plan, which I think is a fair plan, probably an effective plan. What's that, 6K a year? Maybe you could get like almost a 24-hour childcare for like 10K a year in a lot of places, and probably less, probably for like 5, 6K a year in some places. And it's not that you don't want to do it. It's not that you don't want to do the childcare, but it's just like you just got some backup there. You just got some backup there, and that's actually that's what they used to do in Brazil, in pretty much all of Latin America. That's what they pretty much do. It's what the middle classes used to do, and the upper classes in the UK. It's all right, yeah, all the peasants and working classes. That's absolutely fine, but I'm not aspiring to that. To be honest, I'm not aspiring to it. I get it. That's what all my grandparents and all my previous generations were all peasants, basically, from Ireland. So it's not like I'm from aristocratic family, but yeah, and they must have sacrificed a hell of a lot. I'm just like, man, I want to aspire higher than that. So for me, it's either have a lot of money in the UK or have a decent amount of money and be overseas where you can actually employ help. Yeah, I think that's a good angle as well. I don't think there's any shame in that. Or you can have your girl at home and maybe she can work part time or whatever, and then you can get in some help as well. Yeah, because just the amount of domestic. I mean, realistic. Like, there's a reason. Maybe I shouldn't go into this on this live, but you look into ancient societies. There's a reason why they were structured in certain ways. We need robots to do some of this bullshit we need to do around the house. But anyway, my point with all of that is just that single life, I think, has never been more attractive for men. If you know how to approach, if you know how to get women, you know how to, set the date, get the dates, seduce date, give her an absolute railing in the bedroom, and so she's around for future dates. Life is good, man. Life is good. You can travel, you can make money online. Has it ever been this good to be a single guy? We can literally be our own version of James Bond. Like, literally, there's loads of guys doing that these days. You can turn yourself into fucking James Bond. It's absolutely awesome. So yeah, I've talked about some of the difficult I suppose, like the rhythm of cold approach. I called it approach fatigue, approach hangovers. What I've done, and I did this in nightlife as well, hammer it for 6 to 8 weeks. This is just what I've done. And then go, peace, I'm taking 3 weeks off. That's the way I've done it. And it's always worked that way, because it's kind of like, it's like in working out. You work out to failure, but then once your muscles have actually got to a point, they physically are no longer responding. You can't keep working out. You have to then rest. And it's kind of like that with cold approach. That's what I found has got me the growth over probably the last 15 years. And as an introvert, that's just what I've been obligated to do anyway. I have to take some downtime. Okay, so next thing I wanted to talk about was lead management. Lead management. For approach itself, obviously you can watch some demos on this channel. You can watch other people's channels. Lots of places where we can look at the approach. It's very important. But essentially, what the approach is, it's a strong introduction to the girl. It's a conversation. It's a connection. There's so many things to talk about there. What's the best time to spend in an approach? Is it 90 seconds? Is it 30 seconds? Is it 90 minutes? I've done all of the above. So it's interesting to think about what some people actually, quite a short approach is quite good. Other people, like a long approach is better. I favor longer approaches by far. Because I want to get to know the girl a little bit, at least initially, screen her, and I want to vibe with her. Not even on a flirting level. I'm actually like, I want to know her logistics, where you're from, could I potentially date you? I just want to know a little bit about you, because I want to waste my time if factor XYZ is going to be in the way. Maybe she's an idiot, maybe she's annoying. maybe there's some other factor in there. I go, nah, I wouldn't even want to go on a date with a girl like that. So I prefer a longer interaction, and just like a good chat with the girl. Um, Me clean, okay, Mason. Um, so yeah, in terms of, but then you can be really successful with like a 1 minute approach. You get a girl's number, you can actually link up with her. So that's pretty cool as well. Um, so there's all different things that can happen on an approach, but I don't want to talk about that right now. Now I want to talk about lead management. Most of the time, almost never, you're going to be sleeping with the girl like directly from the cold approach in the street. Even in the guys in the group that I'm in, I don't think too many people have done that. I don't know, but I don't think too many people have done that. Just met the girl in the street and then directly gone to sleep with her. My friend the rock star has done that dozens and dozens of times in the day, uh, multiple times in a single day. The guy's in over four figures lay count. He's mentally ill for sure, but his approach is just like it's it's mind bending to actually watch the guy. Yeah, so you did with the Norwegian. So you met her in the street in the day, and then brought her back and shagged her in the same day. Um, yeah, so it definitely can be done, but yeah, it's the exception. It's the exception. 99% of the time, I've only ever done that at night, and 99% of the time, and even at night, I've never really a one night stand. Not so much really. 99% of the time, you're just getting the lead in the day. However good the interaction is, however flirty it is, even if you have an instant date, you are actually then you are leading up to something. But um, basically, 99% of the time, you're just getting a lead in the day. So let's just work on that basis. You know, the exception is the exception. The rule is you're going to be getting the lead on the day. So we actually want to manage that lead. So the slight caveat to this is, I think the management of the leads is related to how strong the approach was. Not always. And basically how much the girl liked you, right? So if the girl doesn't really like you and the approach was shit, well, she's not going to message you back, even if you somehow manage to wangle her number or something. It's probably not going to work. But if the girl just liked you in general, and or your approach is pretty good, and there's going to be you're just giving the girl a chance to like you, um, then you go into lead management phase. I personally have found, because I favor longer interactions, I've found my lead management is fairly effective because I favor longer interactions. And so by the time I actually message the girl, it would be quite weird if they didn't message me back. Because I might have had a 20-minute, 15-minute conversation with them. I'll probably set up the date with them. If I like them, I will have done those things, you know. And if I've run over to the girl in the middle of the street, you know, it's pretty obvious I'm interested in her. So in terms of lead management, the way I mostly have structured it is, let's say I go out on a Saturday, I get 3 numbers. Maybe I go on a Friday and get a couple as well. So that week I've got 5. You know, the numbers, the actual numerical amount doesn't really matter so much, but you just got incoming numbers. Okay, it's a bit of a trophy at first, but actually as time goes on you realize it's not actually that important. It's what you do with the numbers that's important. It's what you do with the numbers that's important. So how I do it now is, before I might get 1 number a day when I went out. It's because I might get multiple now. I get 3-4 contacts in a day. I I will not even message. I will only message the top girl on the ranking. I will only, because I don't have time to message 3-4 different girls. I don't care about being a player. I only want to message the one top girl that I've met that day, and maybe not even her. If none of them were really good enough, I just won't message them. It's kind of crazy to think about. That's how I'm living now, but that's how I do it. And what I've tended to find is those girls are most often receptive. They're most often receptive because if I'm engaged with them and I'm interested in them after that, you know, if she's the hottest girl I've seen that day, I really wanted to approach her. I approached her and it went well. She'll feel that energy as well. It's been a long conversation. This is not a thing that's happening to girls very much, you know. The guys I've seen, I've even looked. Honestly, I was looking at another coach today, coaching in a different country, and thinking he is absolutely wank. His approach is a wank. All of my friends in the on-charge are better than him. All of them. um, and so, if you imagine what your average person who's doing approach, we're talking about daytime cold approach, mate. If you imagine your average person doing approaches, first of all, there's hardly any of them. The ones that do it are usually shit, and there are a few, to be fair, who are decent, but they're very, very few. They're very few. Then there are other girls they'll get approached like maybe there's guys who are a bit flirty like at work or in the gym and stuff. That's not to say that no guys are approaching anywhere, because they are, but in terms of daytime approach, going out and hitting it like we do, there's not many guys doing that. So it's rare that the girl has actually experienced this kind of interaction, right? And so usually we usually select each other because it's like, man, I'm showing boldness. I'm decent looking anyway. I'm good enough certainly to pass through the filters. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll definitely message this guy back. If we had a 15, 20-minute conversation, it's pretty weird if they don't message me back. So that's really how I'm managing it. I'm picking the one I like the most from that given day, and then I'm messaging her. That's how I do it. And with this management, there's a kind of received wisdom, which is from I've probably said this at times, but I've gone back into my Rolodex of my mind and gone, actually, this is not true. The idea that the attraction fades in a few days, I would say that is probably with girls where there was not a great deal of substance to the interaction to begin with. There might have been some physical attraction, but there wasn't a real resonance. There wasn't a deep resonance with the girl. And it's girls like that will fall off, and maybe there's another boyfriend around and stuff like that. Often there is, right? There's often other guys involved as well. But when the girl's single and you have really good resonance with her, my experience is, as long as you message her within a few days, you don't have to meet up with her the next week. You don't. It doesn't have to be within 7 days. My standard, honestly, my standard is about 2 to 6 weeks. That's my standard range. It's rarely within the first week. It's rarely within the first week because I'm busy, they're busy. Let's say I met them on the Saturday. If they're not available the following weekend, which they're probably not, and I'm probably not, then it might be another week until I get to see them. So it might be 10 to 14 days, and that would be quite early. And there's been other girls I've met up with 3 weeks afterwards. That's pretty common. That's pretty common. That's very common, in fact. The girl I was out with on Friday, that's at least I was trying to count. I was like, that's a 5 week turnaround. She was away in a different country for 3 weeks. And how do you manage that lead? I use the word management. It's fairly normal. It's just you just check in with them like you would do like a new mate that you don't know. I've been had a great time with some guy. I don't know. I just taken up surfing. He was a beginner surfer. We hit it off. We had really good banter. I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to come back surfing. Hey, when are you next going to be around? Oh, I'm going away. Oh, cool. And then I messaged him in a couple of weeks. Oh, how's the surfing going out in, wherever, Australia? Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, I'm coming to Devon in a few weeks. Cool. I'll see you there. And just message back and forth a little bit. That's kind of it's not quite the same as with friends, but that is the kind of vibe. It's like you're just you basically just keep interacting with them on a once, twice, or probably once a week basis, while until you can meet up. And in the first in the first set of texts that I'll be sending them, I will be wanting to set something up with them. So I'm seeding the pull basically. I'm seeding the pull also on the very first interaction. And it basically just puts it out there. Oh, this guy wants to meet me. Okay, cool. I'm not going to be pushy with it. It's like, oh no, I'm not free this week. All right, cool. And then maybe the following week, whatever. Oh yeah, maybe we'll. Yeah, cool. Sounds really good. or I'm going away for 2 weeks. Oh, cool, where you going? You know, but she knows that I want to meet up with her. Yep, and yeah, so she knows that I want to meet up with her, and then after that, it's clearly established what I want from this girl. Yeah, I'm not gonna get friend zoned. I can't be friend zoned. If I just message her like, "Oh hey, how's it going?" Keep the messages really short and casual. That's another thing, short and casual, not overly polite, not overly considerate. Have a bit of banter with her about sometimes the first approach. That's what I sometimes do with girls. Like, it makes them feel sexy. They might say, "Oh, I'm in this new whatever." Like the girl I was with on Friday, she'd been on holiday, and I can't remember. I said something to her in one of the text messages, something that just reaffirmed how hot I found her, but not in a completely chill way, an almost comical way. Um, so you can just keep that going for a few weeks. Cariad. I tell you what, mate. You know what we can do with you? We can get you to fuck off my channel, okay? Get out of here, you fucking bum. Okay. um, yeah. What happened to be your authentic self? This is what I'm doing, but I'm explaining it. To be honest, I work with some autistic guys in terms of in terms of like daytime approach. So far, I've worked with actually a couple of guys with autism. So I'm actually not joking. So I'm explaining it in minute detail, because believe me, in this space, when we're talking about you're irritating, Carrier, just get off my channel, bro. Okay, bye, peace. Um, so yeah, I'm explaining it in literally minute detail because I know some of the people who will watch this type of content have got no fucking clue what they're doing, none at all. So I'm explaining the minutia on this video. Yeah, it might sound like I'm being an engineer about it, but some people need it like this. Some people need to be told like this. Um, and so yeah, so that's the depth of it, man. That's the depth of it. It's all right saying just be casual, but then someone's casual, and then you read the message they wrote, and you go, "What the fuck did you?" Someone's casual, and they tell you what they did on a date, and you go, "Yeah, just be your authentic self." That person's authentic self. If they're like neurodivergent, they might do something completely fucking insane. Yeah, so they don't know. Um, what on earth? Yeah, so that's why I'm explaining it in such minute detail. Um, yeah, and so anyway, so that's how you can, in very minute detail, that's how you can continue an interaction until you actually get the girl out on a date. Until you actually get the girl out on a date. Um, is there anything else here? Yeah, so you don't need to get her out within a week. That's actually a myth. The fear of losing the girl's attraction, her attractions going down into the dungeons. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Just go and get another girl. Who cares? And if the attraction was good to begin with, and the vibe was good, and she's actually interesting, yeah, have some commonality with her. This is another thing. Guys are they're just looking at a girl, and they just have an image. What do you have in common with her? Yeah, so if I'm texting a girl and I've got nothing in common with her, she's a moron, I'll stop very quickly. But if we have commonalities, I can see she's my type of girl, then it's natural we can continue to move forward a little bit over the coming weeks. It's not that competitive, man. It really isn't. It really isn't. Like if you're a solid guy, you are your own niche basically. So um yeah, the girl can wait a few fucking weeks to meet you. Um, and yeah, the ones that drop off, so they drop off. Big deal. Yeah, and I would say, oh, there's something as well. It's interesting. Like one of my friends, Christian, he was saying he's going out now, almost like sports approach, because he's got a girlfriend, and I've done this at times as well, where he's just giving the girl his number and saying, message me if you want to. Do you ever get feedback from women what they think about your interactions, trying a bit of evidence? I tend to find, Andy, when they're sucking my cock, that tends to be pretty good evidence that they actually, they like the approach and they like the date. So I tend to find them pulling their pants down. I tend to find that to be quite good evidence. But yeah, after sex, they will. After sex, they normally will say actually sex as well. Girls tell you stuff all the time, dude. Girls tell you stuff all the time. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, I mean, you can be skeptical. That's fine, dude. To be honest, but because there's lots of frauds who talk about women, so I actually understand. Yeah, I'm just saying, if a girl's sucking my dick, it's pretty obvious she liked the approach, yeah. So, or she liked the date, yeah. So, um, yeah. Where do we go from here? Uh, yeah, lead man. So I was talking about Christian now. I was talking about his approach, what he's doing at the moment. This is like the other extreme to my approach. I was talking about garnering a lot of numbers and then just focusing on the one I like and messaging her, seeing if something happens from it. I don't need to be having different girls every day, so I'm happy to wait until that girl pops up. But if you're going out doing sports approach, or actually you're younger and you just want to rack up maximum body count, or you're just lazy and you don't really care who you fuck, you can actually do what Christian's tactic is, which is go out, get 4 or 5 numbers, but just literally give the girl your number and go, yeah, message me if you want to see me. You can actually do that. You can actually do that. My friend Raphael does that. That's a completely alternative, like the extreme opposite end of lead management, where you just can't even be bothered to even take the girl's number. You can actually do that, but obviously you're then going to be only limited to girls who are motivated to follow up with you. And there may be many girls that you actually would have been happy to come out on a date with you if you just messaged them first. And that could be a thing. Female pride, man. Female pride. Guys need to wake up to female pride. They want to have the pride of like, I'm hot enough that he at least messaged me first. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, fine, Andy. Yeah, no, that's fine, mate. That's fine. I was probably a bit short with you there, but it's late at night, mate, and I'm always quite short on these lives, to be honest with you. I kick people off. I'm usually in a bad mood, but I'm trying to be consistent with them, so I'm doing them late at night after a long day of work. Um, so yeah, so Christian's model and my friend Raphael's model, that is actually can be really good for your sex life. But just for me, I'd say I actually am only interested in the girls I'm interested in. So if 5 girls could text me, I don't really care. I only want the one I want. Um, and if I don't make the first move, all right, she might text me, but in many cases, I'll make the first move on the text, and then we go back and forth. So that's an alternative model to, you know, uh, lead management. But I would say that's quite an extreme one. That's like Christian's obviously like a cold approach, like actual magician. So the approach is very strong. Like he's kind of pushing the boundaries and so on. My friend Raphael he's in his 50s, but there's something weird about that guy as well. Um, and that's what he does as well. So it can be done that way. There's lots of different models. I'm just sharing the one that I use. On some level, though, I think most guys having some lead management in place is going to really help. Is really going to help. Um, and yeah, it's all right saying just be yourself, but it's like not we're attempting to achieve a goal, which is to eventually get the girl out on a date with us. We can be ourselves on the date. Yeah, in the text message, we need to actually just we need to engage with her in the right way and then get her out. If I'm myself on when we talk about Nietzsche to her, hey, what have you been up to today? I'm thinking about Nietzsche's eternal return, which is probably what I am thinking about. Well, I've been learning Serbo Croat. It's just too much. So I just send them a casual message. Keep it casual, keep it low key. Or guys like maybe they're working really hard. What have you been up to? I just made 100 grand or whatever they do. I don't know. Fundamentally, just always be thinking about logistics. Ask about logistics on the initial conversation. Ask about logistics in the text thread. that in itself is a very clear signal you're interested in the girl, you want her. I've had this before where I've been in interaction with a girl, paid her a compliment, be chatting with her, and she liked it and stuff, and she was interested, curious, and it was only when I started to shift towards the logistics. So okay, so you're in Manchester, you live here, okay, cool. I'm coming back in a couple of weeks. Yeah, where'd you like to go out? It was only when I shifted over to the logistics, something switched in the girl's eyes. She's like, oh fucking hell, this guy's serious. I can literally watch her processing it in her eyes, and then she's like, oh, and then it's kind of like she makes a decision. Okay. Usually that's the point where it's like, oh, that's the point where it's like switch from me being just the guy who's approached and the guy like, it's a different switch. We're going into kind of dating switch there. It's a cool thing when you see girls switch like that. You start to go a little bit more direct, or just really set up the date towards the end. You direct at the start, but you set up the date towards the end. You process it, Um, and yeah, what did I say here? Um, yeah, think about attraction. It's like people think about attraction. I don't really think that much about attraction. I just assume they're attracted to me. Why would they not be? If they're really not, they just fuck off. If a girl's not attracted to you at all, you'll know very quickly. You'll know really quickly. I know this from dancing. Um, Not so much in the UK because people just tend to dance, but in some countries, like if the girl doesn't fancy you, she won't even dance with you, dude. It was like that in Turkey. I was just like, it was weird for me because I'm just going socially, but I'm like, I quite like this. It's like yes or no. She like literally looks at you and she's like, or she's like, like, so. Same with approach, man. If the girl's not interested in you, she'll let you fucking know, man. She'll let you know. But why would she not be interested in me, in my opinion? Sometimes, yeah, you're not the girl's type. That's fine. But I tend to find the girls who are my type. Often I'm their type as well. It's a hard one to explain, isn't it, that one? Um, yeah, yeah, it's often the case. So that was all I really wanted to come in with today. We've done about 52 minutes, and I've talked about dating in the modern world, reality, the reality of modern dating, the reality of going out and doing cold approach for those rare gentlemen who take it upon themselves to go out into the streets as knights of the realm, as warriors who decide, you know what, I'm taking control. I'm going to be the one who leads. Yeah, I'm going to take control of my dating life. Let's go out and do 10 approaches. Let's get my wings. See if we can get 3 or 4 numbers in the street, apropos of nothing. That's what daytime approach is. It's kind of natural for us to do now, but this is who I'm talking to. Yeah, my wings out there. I was with a guy who's 21 at the weekend. Absolute animal. Absolute animal. And he's learned all of his approach. He's learned from scratch. From being a literal teenager to being in his early 20s now. And if you saw him in set, now he's changed up his fashion a little bit. I don't know if he I gave him a recommendation. I don't know if that was inceptioned its way into his mind, but he's changed up his fashion a little bit. Just got a little bit more style, going out in jeans and a t-shirt, as opposed to fucking like an absolute homeless tracksuit that he was going out with before. And I'm watching him in set going, he looks about fucking mid-20s. And he basically looks like he's ready to be teaching, to be honest. The wing I went out with on Saturday, honestly, that solid. Absolutely rock solid, like miles better than when I last saw him like a year ago. Like incomparably better. Everything was just on point. And so this is what guys are doing. It's just aggressive self-development through daytime approach. And then we take it into all other areas of life, making content, our work, our family, our profession. You go up to girls in the street and just make mac apropos of nothing. It's pretty good going. Most guys are not gonna have the balls to do it. So yeah, that's who I'm talking to. But also, yeah, you fade out, man. After a while, it's an energetic expense. So that's what I said there earlier on in the live. I find every eight or so weeks, I've got to take some time out. I'm going to take some time out this weekend, maybe the next couple of weeks. Just do some other stuff, man, at the weekends. Life is not all about cold approach. And then, yeah, lead management as well, which I do think is important for most guys. Lead management is really important. I'm going to, when I do my email, do my mailing list, like email series, that's going to be one of the sections I'm going to talk about actual bit more depth on lead management. Um, so yeah, this is me, the wing bro. I don't know everything about this whole game, but I'm 39. I lost my virginity 24 years ago when I was 15 to a girl I cold approached in a club. Um, been managing different relationships over many years. I've had big dry spells for various reasons. Um, so it's almost like, and I've had spells where I've been doing pretty on fire. I've had long-term relationships. I've had a fiance. Um, and now I'm kind of living this. I've really got into this freedom lifestyle where I'm traveling around the world. I'm an explorer now, and so yeah, relationships are interesting. But I definitely feel I can help guys, especially guys who are just starting out, or maybe they're in a dry spell, or maybe they're basically, they don't know anything. They're virgins, whatever. Everything I've learned over the last 24 years, but mostly been through getting punched in the face 100,000 times until I learned. I had the lessons beaten into me by the opposite sex, because, and then try and learn from guys online. The best guys I learned from were guys I saw in person. I do my own little things as well, and so that's where this is all coming from. And I've been doing daytime approach now for 2 years, pretty solidly. I'm a solid operator now, and yeah, basically a proven operator now. You can see it on my channel. You can even see it on someone else's channel. Um, and yeah, just basically here to help. Here to help. So, do we have any more comments? Yeah, you don't close a massive amount of girls. See, you think you don't, but compared to most guys, you do, mate. You do. To be honest with you. Oh, watch the infield, Andy. Yeah, I've got some infields on. Andy, appreciate your questions, mate. I was a bit short with you, but hey, this is what it is. Richie, thank you for joining, mate. How's Amsterdam going? If you're still on. Um, yeah, I feel like your approach is a bit similar to mine, Richie, to be honest, where you go out and hammer it like to an ungodly extent, and then you just retire for a while. I think that's your strategy. That's kind of mine. We're not quite the same in terms of the rhythms, but it's somewhat similar. Like you're still hibernating till Saturday. I think hibernation is all right though, mate. To be honest, I'm taking some time off this weekend. Yeah, Sinner's going over to Manchester, but which I would like to join him, but I'm so knackered. I'm so knackered. I need to calm my nervous system down. So I'm gonna take this weekend, just take it slow, do some other stuff. Um, yeah. And we don't want to get stuck on being approach artists as well. Like, you don't want to be a pickup artist, but you definitely don't want to be an approach artist. Like, for me, cold approach is like, it's self-development, but then my actual personal life, I still want to make sure that's all ticking along nicely. Um, so yeah, that's where the follow-up comes in, the lead management, the seduction. The actual enjoyable part for me is, like the dates and then the seduction and the actual, that's the enjoyable part for me. Yeah, you've got 3 active leads. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can just keep them burning a little bit now and then, and you go meet them. I was saying to Belfast, like the stuff that the one product that's not that out there that I would buy, and I'd probably pay from someone who is credible. I don't know how you could prove your credibility on this one. I'd probably pay £1,000, £2,000 even for a course on breakups, managing relationships, because I don't think anyone has successfully really. I don't think anyone has successfully really identified like what it is the how to actually go about this in a way that is minimally destructive. Yeah, it tends to be the case. It's like, as a guy, it's famine, famine, feast, 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 and then you gorge on the feast, but then the girl starts to get feelings, or multiple girls start to get feelings, then it blows up in your face. Yeah, different countries, so that could be quite easy. Uh, yeah, in my experience with girls that I see, it's kind of like I feel guilt actually, because quite often girls I'm not really that into. I just like their sex basically. They get attached, which is normal. But it's my fault for not being able to say no to the sex. and I'm kind of like, I like the girl, but I'm somewhat indifferent to her. And it's sort of like, I don't know, those breakups, man, I do not find them pleasant at all. I don't find them pleasant. I definitely got, that's probably my weak point in my game, so to speak, is the back end of like not causing too much chaos and then separating myself from girls. Um, I always remember thinking this. I'm like, only everyone's talking as if just getting the sex is just that's just all that's going to happen, or just getting the relation. And there's going to be nothing. There's going to be no problems after this for you to handle. And it's like, well, that's kind of just the start of your problems, basically. Um, so yeah, that's something I think is my own weak spot, basically. You know, I said this to a friend though, and he was like, does anyone want to get good at breaking up? Like, is that actually a good thing to be good at? I thought, yeah, it's actually an interesting point, you know. So yeah, but I personally actually at this point, like a breakup course, I'd probably I'd pay a couple of grand for, to be honest. If it was good, I don't know how you could prove your statistics with that. Um, yeah, self-management, self-control. That's why my current rule is 4 to 6, 4 to 6 shags, and you got to move on. That's my current rule. But I broke that rule last year with one girl. There you go. And this is what happens. You get yourself in situations. Um, yeah, I kept it more or less with the others, but then one slipped through the cracks. Next thing I know, there's a situation going on, and then I get these weird emotions of feeling guilty that I'm going to abandon this girl who's been very good to me. As another guy messaged me the other week saying he'd had a situation where he was getting rid of a girl who had actually been very good to him, and he actually really liked, but he just realized was holding his life back. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this literally the story of my life. How to and the guilt you feel, for me, I find it very painful. I found it very painful. I don't know if it's. I think other guys can relate to this because I think as men we want to naturally protect women and children and stuff. I do think I don't know if I just feel it very badly. Maybe other guys feel it just the same, and I'm being a self-pitying fucker. But yeah, for me, that's I think there's a slight pathology there in me. I do. Um, but it's like you have to be the bad guy if you're breaking up with a girl. You can't care about her feelings if you're breaking up with her. You can't be too empathetic to her feelings if you actually want to move on with your life. Um, yeah, so that's definitely a spot that I'm not so strong on. I could do cold approach, can close girls on the dance floor, and other things as well. But that one, yeah, my only solution is 4 to 6. Really, 3 to 4 bangs probably is going to be about it. Yeah, I had a girl messaging me the other day. He was like, she was almost like she said she was pissed off with me, and you've also got to be careful about who you take advice from. I've taken advice from my mate who's in his 70s on 2 occasions, and they completely, because he's so much older than me and he is experienced, I took his advice, and in both cases they just didn't work at all. There were things I would have never thought to do, and they completely backfired. And a girl messaging me the other day, she said she felt really insulted about something I did, and I was like, oh fucking hell, that's when I took my mate's advice. So yeah, another girl saying, oh, we were practically together, and I'm thinking we slept together once. She's like, we were practically together, we were practically boyfriend and girlfriend. Fucking insane, dude, insane. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, London is obviously sweet. Thank you everybody for joining. Hopefully that's been useful. It's another brick in the wall. I'm Joseph, Wingbro. If you found this useful, check out some of my other videos. I'm in the UK for 4 more weeks, and then I will be out in the Balkans for the summer. I'll be out mingling with the Balkan ladies, but just having a good fucking summer, man. Sometimes obviously on a channel I talk about women all the time because that's the point of the channel, but like there's really more. There's really more to life, So I'll be out there doing my language learning, seeing the sights, visiting castles, shooting guns, Going up mountains, it's just going to be a sick summer. It's going to be absolutely sick summer. Hopefully get some dance in there as well. It's going to be absolutely fucking awesome. Yeah, the whole lifestyle, man, not just the girls, the whole lifestyle, the whole Bond lifestyle. We'll leave things there. La noche, buenas noches, boa tarde, boa noite, bonsoir.